live from New York. It's the show that is celebrating International Corgi Day.
Oh.
Brew, corgis have long bodies, short legs, and big hearts.
Nobody cares.
I knew that. Like, I don't know what a corgi is.
It's a dog.
You knew it had a big heart?
I had no idea what a corgi was. Real talk.
First things first. Legendary Celtics. The franchise? No, I'm actually talking about this team. Boston Globe staff writing. It's a take so hot, there's 4 authors on it. Should the Celtics win it all, they will absolutely belong in the conversation, just in the conversation, as one of the handful of greatest single-season teams in NBA history. The data and analytics already tell us that they are. I have those backed up with Josh. Yes, Josh.
Stop it.
Okay. It's true. Okay. What do you guys, eye test it? Now it's up to the Celtics to tell us that they are as well by confirming it on the court.
No. Okay. No.
I haven't even asked.
No. Go ahead.
Would a title cement the Celtics? Okay.
No. Like, it would cement them as champions. It would cement them as maybe throughout the year slightly underrated in a lot of quarters, including this one. It would cement all of that. But all-time great team is such a ludicrous bridge too far. This is a cursory, because I think Brew's going to have more an official one. Just since the merger, without any shadow of a doubt, 83 Sixers, 85 Lakers, 86 Celtics. Pick your Bulls team. I'll go with 96 Bulls, 01 Lakers, 13 Heat, 17 Warriors. There's 7. A tier beneath them, Walton's Blazers, 87 Lakers, 89 Pistons, another pick your Bulls team, 92 Bulls, and the 97 Bulls, 2000 Lakers, 03 Spurs, 18 Warriors. Now we're at 15. I think you could add maybe another Bird Celtics team, maybe another one of Isaiah's Pistons teams. Certainly the 07 Spurs are in the discussion. And Brew, what do all those teams have in common? Legendary, not Hall of Fame players,
right?
Not great supporting cast, right. Legends. That tier 1 group had Moses and Doc together, Magic and Kareem together, Bird, MJ, Shaq and Kobe together, LeBron, Steph and KD together. Like, give me a break. I do not care, and I like the metrics, Brew. I like the analytics. I like a lot of it. But I like to say, it's a rich tapestry. It is a lot. And you say this a lot when we talk GOAT stuff, right, Brew?
Yep.
That it can't just be all of one or the other. And I would just also say there has to be some common sense here. Has anyone who's watched basketball this year, anyone, at this table or any table, said, you know what? I think we're watching one of the greatest teams of all time.
Apparently, some of the writers at the Boston Globe, and I respect these guys. I know
Bob Ryan's an all-time legend.
Gary Washburn's my man, even though he voted for Melo. I know, but still, he's a great NBA writer. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's ridiculous. Now, the only way, I don't care if they sweep Dallas. I don't think they're an all-time great team. All right? The only way they could ever go down as an all-time great team in my book is if they become some type of dynasty, right? Okay. They win it next year. Or they win 3 of the next 4. Whatever. Then we'll look back, and I will admit, man, some people saw it before I did, all right? But now,
totally agree, bro.
No way. First of all, you had the easiest route ever to the finals. That's number 1. Like Nick said, look, Tatum and Brown are going to be Hall of Famers, assuming everything goes well. Horford and Drew, if they win this championship, probably will be Hall of Famers if they win this championship.
4 Hall of Famers.
So you could say 4, and that, to me, that makes them closer to the 04 Pistons than to one of these all-time great teams, because as you said, every other team had an upper echelon superstar, all-time elite player.
Usually at his peak. Or right around his peak.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And look, that article was heavy on analytics, all right? Yes. And one of the ones they used was offensive rating. This Celtics team has the greatest offensive rating ever. Guess who had the second greatest? This year's Pacers. It's all based on the three-point shot and the pace. 7 of the top 10 rated offenses ever were this year.
Yeah.
7 of them.
Okay, that's a good
2
point.
of them were last year, including Sacramento. Didn't they go out in the first round to Golden State? I mean, what are we talking?
As of
and
4
then the
years,
Brooklyn Nets in 21.
Right. And
so no one before that.
They just
because of the three.
Sorry to interrupt, but the height as of the pandemic season, the greatest offense in league history was Luka in year 2. A Mavs team that lost in round 1.
Right.
Because
it's
again,
just
like
the three-point shot.
It's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And so I did put together a list. Now what I didn't break up these dynasties. So but just including the dynasties, I got to 10. Jordan's Bulls. This is since the merger. Yeah. Steph, KD Warriors. Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Showtime Lakers. Bird Celtics. The Big Three Heat, the 83 Sixers, the Bad Boy Pistons. I fought between the Bad Boy Pistons and the 16 Cavs, but I went with Pistons because they won 2. And then Duncan Spurs. Pick whichever team from those groups. You got 6 of them from Jordan. Pick whichever one you want. I mean, I'm just saying, like.
4 Bulls teams that
what are we talking
rock
about?
This Celtics.
I don't even think this Celtics team, the 86 Birds or Celtics, obviously I have ahead of them. Yeah. I think the 08 Celtics with Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, 3 all-time greats. I'm taking them over this team.
And the 09 Lakers are close, and the 2014 Spurs are close. Like those. Go ahead, Wildes.
You got any data to back it up or no?
Yeah.
Just all eye test, and this guy was really good.
It's all-time greats. There's no,
but there's not one. I know, but there was not one piece. There was one piece of data.
The offensive rating that didn't.
That skewed it. But you said, all right, it's the easiest path.
Because the Pacers, awesome offense this year. Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, I get it. The offense is crazy.
You go, Wildes.
Way better than the Showtime.
So it's the easy path. They went 12-2. They don't. We understand. Was it an easy path all year?
No,
because we look at margin of victory, and here's best point per game differential all time. So this is not just offense. This is because they also have a great defense. And according to you guys, playing in an all-time era of great offense, they're plus 11. So they're there with the all-time greats. I'm not saying that they're necessarily as good as the 96 Bulls, but they've done everything they can on the court. So hold on. So now we got, if they win these 4 games, here are teams with 80 wins. They did it. Okay? We could say they didn't do it. We can say the era is soft, I guess. I don't know. The East was soft.
There was only one 50-win team in the East outside of it.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, what do you want them to do about it? Like, they're winning games.
No, they did. They
all right, and then how about Tatum? I was like, Tatum's not an all-time great. He's only not an all-time great because we say he's not an all-time great and because he hasn't won. If all of a sudden he wins at age 26 and he's faster than all of these all-time legends, maybe we start viewing Tatum a little bit differently. I think, honestly, it is a little bit of a marketing problem where you put up all those great teams and we have such good memories and the narratives are already formed. And they've all got the Bad Boy Pistons and Showtime Lakers and the Big Three Celtics and the Heatles. And this is just like the Celtics without Marcus Smart. And this is what I put. Columbus, Ohio doesn't feel like it has more people than Seattle or Denver, but it does. Like, by the numbers, you can say, like, it certainly doesn't feel like it. It feels like Seattle and Microsoft and Denver. It's, the Rocky Mountains and Coors Light. But then, like, Columbus, like, no, we got more people. What do you want us to do? It's just kind of the facts. We're there.
And so, but
that was cute. Wow.
So here's the problem, and I'm glad you mentioned, you picked randomly, I assume, Denver is one of the cities. As of 3 weeks ago, you were adamant that this team couldn't win the championship. So how can you now? All of those stats were already there. They were all. So do you think?
Because honestly, one of the reasons, because Denver went into Boston when they were on a 25-game win streak. And I say, man, if Denver can go into Boston and win, then no one can beat Denver. That was wrong.
But hold on. So do you think, right? Honest opinion. Do you think this Celtics team is better than last year's Nuggets? I don't.
I don't know.
I don't.
So was last year's Nuggets an all-time great team?
An all-time great team? No. I would say probably not.
And you just said you don't know if this year's Celtics team is better than them. So how can this be an all-time? The 64 wins is doing a lot of work. But then I remind you, the 2022 Suns, not the Suns team that went to the finals, the Suns team that got beat by Luka, won 64 games. The 2019 Milwaukee Bucks, they did not win the title. Lost to Toronto. They won 60-plus games. The 2018 Houston Rockets won 65. They lost to Golden State, and the 2018 Toronto Raptors won 60. They lost to Cleveland. So what do all those teams have in common? They had great regular seasons, and they ran into, in the playoffs, a team with a legend. Where the Suns
But if they win, then here's what I don't like, and it's a little bit, not to like get too in our how we discuss topics, it's a little bit like the Brock Purdy conversation. Like, what more could the Celtics do? Be better? They blew out every team historically. Win more games? They're one of like a handful of teams that won 80 games. There's nothing they can do.
No, to be called and I've said this about Purdy. As much as I've defended him, I've said I want to see a little more. Like, keep doing it, and then he will definitely be considered.
But get into a time machine and win next year's championship too?
No, I don't think there's nothing they can do for me.
Then that's the problem
this year.
Okay, then
but even
then
what
there's nothing
you said,
you can do.
No, even what you said was the reason. The bad boy Pistons, we're looking back. The Showtime Lakers, we're looking back. First of all, even in that era, we knew Isaiah Thomas was a legend. We knew Magic Johnson were legends. We're not. Jason Tatum is an all-time great. It's just there's levels to this. He's not on the upper tier of the all-time great like all the other great teams. And you said if they win, if they keep winning. And I'm not saying they got to win 3 straight, but if they win next year, or if they win the year after that, and then the year after that, like if they go on a run, sure, we'll look back and say that was an all-time great team. But there's no way right now.
Not for none of these teams. It was their first title. Except for the 83 Sixers. It's the only one who had been to 3 finals in the previous 5 years and then added Moses Malone, who was a 3-time MVP in the previous 5 years. The 85 Lakers, that was Magic and Kareem's 3rd title. The 86 Celtics, that was Bird and McHale's 3rd title. The 96 Bulls, that was MJ and Pippen's 4th title. The 01 Lakers, that was their back-to-back when they ran through everybody. The 2013 Heat, that was their 2nd title. The 17 Warriors, they won a title, lost LeBron, added Kevin Durant. I happen to believe that the analytics stuff is so valuable and important. And I also think at times analytics folks work against themselves. Because if you are going to use these numbers, not you, the generic you, and use it to prop up and say, guys, I know what all of your instincts tell you and your whole history of watching basketball, but we're watching one of the greatest teams in NBA history, then that makes people discount the analytics. We're not. They could be deserving champions, and maybe they are about to start a run. There is nothing this team can do to prove they're one of the greatest teams ever, because they're not.
I mean, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy then.
But look,
there's nothing they can do because they're not, like, then you
We're not saying they can't be champions. Yeah. But I just think the Boston Globe went overboard in saying they're an all-time great team.
This is a serious question. You said if they sweep Dallas, and you're saying Luka has a ceiling of top 10, and he gets swept by the Celtics, and you look at it, what's the argument that they're not, other than they're just not?
Well, one, they don't have an upper tier all-time great. If they win 3 in the next 5 years, Jason Tatum will probably go down as something like
this year, if someone was making the argument going into the conference championship weekend that the Ravens team is arguably the greatest team in NFL history, and here's why they're more impressive than the 85 Bears, and here's why they're more impressive than the 88 Niners, and here's why, and if your answer was, no, they're not, that's okay. Like, that's some of sports is, again, people use this too often, and I know we have to move on, but the Supreme Court definition of obscenity, I know it when I see it. And I'm sorry, you think I'm being dismissive. I care and watch too much basketball for anyone to try to convince me that this team, well, here's why they're better than the 83 Sixers. Here's why they're better than the 86 Celtics. They're not.
I just get frustrated where it's like, well, this team, there is no path to that.
Yeah, it's a path going to become a dynasty.
Yeah, and then we'll be like, wow, the analytics had it right on this team, but we didn't. We'll see.
He's in a great space.
Yeah. He really is.
Brew, what would a second title mean for Kyrie?
Well, we talked yesterday. The talk is, what would he be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, wingmen in NBA history? All right, so that's what's on the line for Kyrie. It's not his team. He's not the number one guy, but he is a historic all-time great. How great could depend on this series. I made a graphic. I made the top 10 wingmen all time. Now, a couple caveats.
Robins to a Batman.
Top 10 Robins.
Not wingmen.
Now,
not wingmen like Top Gun or wing
wingman
players.
Is
but
like
go ahead.
Yeah, but wingmen and Robin aren't the same?
It was a little confusion.
Robins.
But yes, there you
top
go.
10 Robins. But
Robin
first,
Lopez.
a caveat. These guys were not included because at times early on, Magic was second to Kareem. Kareem became second to Magic. Kobe was second to Shaq. Dr. J was second to Moses when they won it. But these guys were number ones for the majority of their career.
Okay.
So they're not included. All right. Secondly, I did only count teams that won championships because that's what this is based on.
So John Stockton's not.
John Stockton's not in there because obviously they didn't win a championship.
Okay.
So here we
Good.
go.
All right.
At number one, obviously, Scottie Pippen, right?
All right?
6 titles, nothing to argue about. Number 2, Dwayne Wade.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
He 2 championships, obviously, as the wingman to LeBron. Number 3,
Let me see this one.
Kevin McHale.
I would have had him
All
too,
right.
but I wasn't thinking.
Well, and he had Robert Parrish was battling him. They both put up big numbers.
Yep.
Number 4, this one will surprise you, Nick. Clay.
So
the defense
like
was
that.
great. The defense was great in addition to being a top 5 shooter of all time. Number 5,
Yeah.
James Worthy.
Okay.
All right, James, who was essentially the third guy for some of those championships, but won the Finals MVP in 88.
Yeah.
Number 6, Joe Dumars. Great defense, MVP of the Pistons' first championship, averaged 27 points a game. All right, so number 7, Pau Gasol. Back to back. Him and Kobe, the Lakers were struggling until Pau gets there, and then they go back to back. You could argue he could have been MVP of that last championship with the Lakers, too. All right, number 8, Tony Parker.
I'd have him a little higher.
4 championships. Was the leading scorer or average was the leading scorer in their last championship in 14, but became the number 1 focal point of that
Finals
offense,
MVP
too.
in 07.
Yes.
07 Finals MVP.
Yeah, and I voted for him. I was one of the voters that year. Number 9, Robert Parrish, because they really had a great
they get
victory.
2 wingmen? That seems unfair.
That's how great. Like, Parrish was a consistent 19 and 10 through those 3 championships. All right, McHale was not right there in that first championship.
How much help did Bird need?
And then number 10, Kyrie Irving. If they win. Now, if I have him ahead of Anthony Davis, all right, because right now they both have 1. But Kyrie was huge. Obviously, hit the big shot in the comeback in 2016. And heck, they may have won in 15 had he not gotten hurt. All right, and so he's been hurt a lot. And if he wins this one, he's making the most of his healthy years. AD, you have to include injuries. I got Kyrie low, too, because you have to include longevity as teammates.
So that's what I was going to ask
things like that.
Because, I think that if Kyrie had retired after the 2017 season and then come back this year, I'd have him higher. But when he,
you have to
the idea
everything.
of, wingman is, you're helping, you're the great co-star to this, superstar to win a championship. When you pull the ripcord on that partnership and then are not a good wingman in Brooklyn for, a multitude of reasons, that kind of hurts your legendary wingman status. I do think, I don't want to parse every bit of the list. I would have had Parker a little higher, but I think if they win, Clay versus Kyrie is an interesting discussion. Because we saw them in, I guess, 3 finals together. But the first one, Kyrie got hurt a game in, so throw it out. And the second one, Kyrie needed to be the second best player while Clay only had to be the third best player because it was 2017 when they had Durant.
And then the one where Clay was second best, they lost.
Right. When the one where Clay was second best, they lost.
Right.
Clay, to me, has 2 championships as the second guy in 15 and in 22. If Kyrie does it, he has it as well. Now, he doesn't have the vibes of Clay, obviously. Doesn't have the defense, but also average, a better scorer in the postseason is Kyrie. So that's like a unique one. What's up, Wildes?
I don't see Kyrie as a wingman.
What do you mean?
I just don't.
You see, you jumped on us for eye test, vibe, feel.
This is his point. He's trying to.
I don't. How's that wrong?
Yeah.
One of the rules.
Though.
You can't be millions of people's favorite player and be a wingman.
Paul George. Some people think Paul George is the GOAT. Well, so you can be that.
He's everyone's favorite. Millions of people he's my #1 favorite player.
No,
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.